Hi, my name is Rachel Roberts, and welcome to my Module 1 for EDL 854, Building Finance. A little bit of background information about me. I am a mom to a 2-year-old son named Levi who keeps me very busy. I'm also a wife to my husband David, who is also a teacher and a coach, not in my district, but in a neighboring district, so we keep very busy with his sports. And then I'm about halfway through my master's degree here at Fort Hays State, so it feels good to be on the downhill slide with that. In my free time, I have an unusual hobby. I raise and breed chickens, and so I think of myself as a crazy chicken lady. I have a ton of chickens, so it's kind of unusual because I don't think most people would peg me as that type of person, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. Professionally, I teach at Seaman Public Schools, USD 345. That's on the northern part of Topeka. We are primarily a suburban type community, but we do have a lot of different backgrounds within our district. For 3 years, I taught 5th grade at one of our elementary schools in the district, but right now I'm at the middle school teaching 7th grade English language arts, and I've been there for 2 years. So I'm really enjoying my time here at the middle school, and I think this is probably something I want to stick with for several more years. I know basically nothing about building finance, so reading these articles was very informative to me to keep up with what's going on in financial literacy with school funding. So the first article was by Kataska, and it said that budget's often controlled by the central office and that there's some principal input. They suggested using a school-based management program, which gave more controls to principal, but ultimately they said school finance is a matter of philosophy based upon districts and where they want to go. Shakrina said in 2018 that principals often feel ill-prepared to handle school budgets, which I can relate to. I feel like I know nothing about school finance, so that's why I'm looking forward to taking this class. And they also pointed out that regulations guide how much money can be spent on what and for whom. In the articles by Adam Smith, the first point that he made was that state legislators determine school funding and allocation purposes. It's not actually the district that determines how much money they get. He states that principals need more say in school spending, and he does note that school spending is increasing. We're getting more funding from the legislatures, which is good. However, that funding goes to different locations that even sometimes districts aren't aware of what it's being spent on, so it can be very complex. He suggests using a principal empowerment account, which would help principals make decisions about their schools and their needs. When it comes to principals' experience, personally, I know very little about how our school's money is handled. That's not something we really talk about. She doesn't talk about that with the staff. I met with her yesterday just to kind of touch base with her and let her know I was taking this class and that I would need more hands-on experience with her information. And she was very open to share that information with me, but in general, I know very little about the process because it's not something that's ever been shared. I do know that in my district, most of the controls at the central office and that our principals get a small say in what is spent for the school. Some of those decisions include making decisions about supplies, small field trips, maybe equipment for sports teams, but not much more than that, it seems. She did say that she relies on her secretaries a lot to keep track of much of the spending, so even in her experience, a lot of her work with it is pretty hands-off. But she did say she was going to share every bit of information that she could, so that's exciting. My concerns. I have a lot of concerns about building finance because, like I said, with very little experience in managing a large amount of money like a school would receive, I am concerned about the responsibilities and the repercussions of not managing that money appropriately. I know there's a lot of legalities involved with it, and so just being on top of that type of thing makes me a little nervous. And plus, since it's been so hush-hush, I don't know much about how my district does it, and so I'm going to have to really dig around to find out how money is spent. And so that makes me a little bit nervous as well because it's not something we talk about. And then lastly, I'm worried about equitable spending and making sure that I am spending the right amount of money on the right people and making sure everything is fair for my students. And lastly, here are the resources that I consulted when I built this presentation. Thank you.